Most people just can't get networking to work for them, mainly because there's a lot of things they're not doing right. Today, I'm going to talk to you all about the 10 things you need to do to get your networking completely dialed in. So you're out here selling into mid-market companies, and somehow you ended up in a networking room with a guy selling magic crystals and someone who just launched their coaching business yesterday. You don't need another awkward coffee with someone who can't even spell B2B. You need real conversations that lead to real outcomes. You need a winning team that's as invested in your success as you are. That's Success Champion Networking, built for business owners who sell real solutions to real companies and are tired of networking in all the wrong rooms. No silly jingles, no pass a referral or else pressure, just smart, growth-minded pros who serve the same business-to-business audience as you do. So if you're ready to stop networking with people who think mid-market is a grocery store, go to successchampionnetworking.com, find a chapter near you, and register to visit. Hey, what's going on? I'm Donnie Bovine, CEO and founder of Success Champion Networking and the Badass Business Summit. And today I'm going to walk you through 10 different ways that you need to get your networking completely dialed in and focused so that you can actually succeed and get networking working for you. So, really quick, we'll dive in fast. So, the first one is you got to be very clear about your messaging. Have you ever sat across from somebody and they started talking about what they do, the things they sell, and by the time they were done, you had no damn idea what the heck they actually sold? What most people can't do is say very concisely and precisely what they actually sell. And I'm a firm believer, if you can't say what you do in under 5 words or less, then you probably don't know what you actually sell. You gotta get away from all the fluffy language, all the extra things that you add in there, and say very, very, very precisely who you need to be talking to. Because, let's be honest, if nobody understands what you do, nobody is ever going to, 1, buy from you, or B, refer you in. Right? So you've got to help your network out by saying, and my favorite framework is I do or I sell X, sell to Y, and these are my best referral partners. So it sounds like if I sold commercial printing, is hey, I'm Donnie, I sell commercial printing. I love selling into manufacturing companies, but my best referral partners are like promotional products companies, marketing firms, copywriters, graphic designers, and the likes, right? When you do that and have that solid framework, people can open doors for you fast and they can actually help you out doing a lot of very, very cool things. So, number one, get very clear on your messaging. Uh, Number two, you've got to cultivate the right network, not the biggest network. I think there's so many people get hung up on this idea of they've got to have this massive network of all of these people that they need to know. And the truth of it is you need, 10 to 15 solid people that will open up doors for you as you're opening up doors for them. Think of this as your starting lineup or just your team of rock stars that are all aimed at the same, target audience as you are. What most people end up creating is this large general network where they seem to know everybody and nothing ever comes from it because they don't get very focused in on, okay, this is my ideal client. This is who I want to work with. Who are all the other people that also want to work with that person? And then building a network around that group of people. And what happens is when you create this really generic network, they're all great people, but nothing comes from it because nobody's ever actually talking to your ideal client. And worse, they don't know what to listen for when your product or service comes up. So you're literally working with a group of people that are never going to refer you because they don't get into the conversations that would make sense to bring your name up in it. They're so far removed from what your services are, they're going to struggle with bringing your name up. So when you think about your network, get dialed in. Who is the ideal clientele? What are all those industries that are adjacent to you? Like, what else does that perfect client buy? What services are they into? And then how can I cultivate my network around those type of people that also sell into them? Number three, You need to have a hit list. And a hit list is a key defined target list of companies that you want to go after and target. And it doesn't have to be 100% specific. What I mean, it doesn't have to be, I want to meet the CEO of Acme Brick Company or something along those lines. You can literally start thinking through my hit list of, okay, maybe I'm working with influencers. I want an influencer that has X amount of following on LinkedIn, is proactive here, does this type of thing. It may be things like I want to work with people that are in manufacturing, that are dealing with companies that are doing X amount of dollars, right? So you could kind of put characteristics to your hit list. The best hit list, don't get me wrong, is definitely one that is centered around the exact person and company you want to get to. What I always like to think about it is who's a person that can say yes to me inside of a company, and then how do I get to that person? So I'm working on an event in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I'm helping out bring all the sponsorships in for it. And somebody just sent me the director of Startup Week in Raleigh, North Carolina, and so instantly that person becomes on my hit list, and now I'm going through. Cool, who do I know that's all connected to this person so I can get a straight introduction to that person? And so now I'm going through my network and figuring out well am I connected to this person? How well do I know them? Cool. Would they bring my name up? And if it's a distant connection, like I haven't talked to them for a while, I'm thinking through, cool. How do I bring them something of value? So when I say, hey, can you introduce me to so and so? It's not just a direct pass through. So think about what are the characteristics of your best clientele, like, and come up with as many different industries or segments that you wanna go after, and make out your hit list that way. If you know specifically, like, you sell a service that goes strict into manufacturing, then you need to come up with a very specific list of, manufacturing companies that you want to target and or go after. And what happens is if you don't have this hit list, you're kinda just leaving everything to chance, hoping somebody stumbles into a conversation where they can bring your name up. Number 4, you need to have consistent activity. What a lot of people do is they either just show up or they show up very inconsistently. So I'm going to address the first one. A lot of people, they may show up every week, but they're not proactively working their network. They show up every week and make somewhat generic asks, and they hope that somebody will stumble into a conversation and bring your name up. What really needs to happen is you need to think about where you're showing up and what are the conversations the people in the group likely having that they could potentially bring my name or your name up, right? As they're going about their day through their virtual coffees, through, their one-on-ones and the like. What are they saying when they talk to people? And if we think about it from that perspective, is okay, I'm going to come to the meeting, I'm going to focus on one member in there, and I'm going to think through what are they talking about when they're talking to other people on their VCs, or what are they talking about when they are, talking to their prospective clients and such. What are things that I need to make sure they understand that I do, so they may bring my name up as part of the process? So maybe somebody that shows up to my weekly meetings or like sells, I don't know, websites. Cool. If they're talking about websites, what are the things they're going to be talking about inside that website that would make sense to bring my name up along the way? So a lot of people are showing up, but they're just a body in a room, a body in a seat, and they're not proactively moving forward, trying to figure out how do I actually, progress or move this forward. And it's kinda like the idea behind a hit list, the idea of making a hit list for them. It's just form. They don't want to force conversations, they want this natural flow to happen, and it's because they're not working the business, they're expecting the business just to work for them. So, show up every week, do the things, and look at for me, showing up every day is the minimum requirement, period. Like, do what you say you're gonna do, put in the time, energy, and effort, and it will work and come back to you, okay? Number 5, have a give first mentality. And I just know from a fact that if you can wrap your head around every time I do a virtual coffee with somebody, every time I do a networking meeting, I'm going to make an introduction for that person. you won't believe how far that pushes your business forward because it's the entire thought process of you're going to have to learn about their world, how to make a proper introduction. But even simply just introducing them to somebody else is going to do a lot. And what's funny is people say, "Well, I only have a limited network," and that's because you've limited your networking. You're not getting to enough other places to where you can make great introduction and getting yourself into other rooms. So, you can the give first mentality is, can you give them an introduction? Can you give them a referral? Can you tell them about an opportunity? Can you tell them about a place to go visit and network? What value can you bring them? And if you do the give first, you'll be blown away by what it actually does for your business. Number 6 is industry alignment. Most of your networking that you'll find with people is the bland, generic, networking. They're not thinking about building relationships with key referral partners. They are just going wherever the wind blows and networking in those arenas. So, what I like to think through is cool, who are my best referral partners? So, we'll go back when I did sales training. Uh, I would have never thought custom home builders were going to be some of my best referral partners, but they ended up being. And what happened was I joined a local home builders association and I did sales training. And during that time, I did not want to train a custom home builder on their sales training because the entire thought process was one dude sitting in a house trying to sell a home. Like, that's not a sale. That's, hey, do you want to buy a house? So I went into that association and I made friends with every one of those custom home builders. Right. And I told them all, hey, look, I don't have anything to sell you. I don't want to sell you anything, but I'll buy you a beer. Let's go have lunch, whatever. What I found was, is the more I befriended those custom home builders, there were 600 other people inside that association that needed those home builders because that was their targets. That was lumber companies, window companies, roofing companies, fixtures and appliances, all these companies that were selling to those home builders. By me going in and befriending the home builders, given a little bit of time, the vendors who sold to them started coming to me, asking me how I had the relationships with the home builders, and I ended up closing a lot of business because I was able to close the gap with my best referral partners, which became the home builders. So when you think about, industry alignment, where do your best referral partners hang out and how do you get into that world? Where are they networking? Where are they hanging their hat? And how do you get connected with them? Number 7, follow through. Man, some crazy stats on follow through. 91% of people do not follow up after the initial conversation. I love asking this to a group of people about their virtual coffees, and I'll ask them, how many of you have followed up with a virtual coffee that you had this year? And you'll see very few hands raised. And it's the people that win this game are the ones that can follow up, stay top of mind because it's the second, third, and fourth conversation that starts sparking innovation and ideas and how you can partner up and how you can do things together. But people will do a 400 freaking virtual coffees in a year. And they're like, nothing came from this. And it's because they never revisited the conversations to start going deep into those conversations versus the very surface level and wide that they currently were. You've got to really dive into those conversations to build out these in-depth, very trusting relationships so amazing things will absolutely can't happen. Number 8 is visibility and thought leadership. In this day and age, if you are not putting out original content, you're losing. It is pretty crazy to me how easy it is to grab attention in the marketplace, how easy it is to put your brand out there, and how fewer people actually do it. It's wild. Um, LinkedIn, Substack, those are my two favorite platforms right now. And we are just growing rapidly on the platforms by just putting out general thoughts, things that I'm learning, networking tips, ideas, and we're growing from it. And just the opportunities that have come from that growth are absolutely insane. So you've got to be willing to put yourself out there. And man, what is the easiest way to do it is through writing, or even easier, do it through commenting. But get engaged, get engrossed with people, and watch how much it starts really moving things forward. Number 9 is a virtual coffee cadence. Like, I think 5 virtual coffees a week is a magic number, and a virtual coffee is just you and another person meeting one-on-one, and getting to know each other, trying to open doors for each other. But, man, if you don't have some sort of cadence or rhythm to how often you're doing these and getting to consistent outcomes, I think there's 5 outcomes to a virtual coffee. Outcome number 1, you never wanna talk to them again. Outcome number 2, they're just gonna be a generic or a regular network for you. Outcome number 3, they're gonna be a referral partner. I'm gonna spend more time with them, invest more in them. Outcome number 4, they're gonna be an untouchable, an influencer, somebody that you're gonna protect that relationship. And number 5, they're gonna become a client. And if you can't get to one of those outcomes on every virtual coffee, then you're just doing generic blow by freaking, virtual coffees, and that's why you're not getting any outcomes from them. Get to an outcome in every virtual coffee. And then number 10 is getting an introduction engine mindset. And what I mean by that is how many introductions are you going to make on a weekly basis? Stop thinking about from the perspective of how am I going to get clients and get into the game of building other people's companies. And I love this framework. If I can build your company, my company is going to be built from it. And the introduction engine is really the idea behind how do I create momentum by putting enough introductions in the marketplace that they will open doors for me as well, right? Because the cream rises to the top. If you open the doors for the right people, they're going to do it in kind for you and get through it all. So, if you really want to get your networking dialed in, it's these 10 things, in my opinion. Number one, have a clear messaging. Two, have the right network. Three, have a hit list. Four, have consistent activity. Five, a give first mentality. Six, industry alignment. Seven, follow through. Eight, visibility and thought leadership. Nine, a VC cadence. And 10, having that introduction mindset. If you get these all dialed in, you'll be blown away by how far it actually pushes your business forward. So, guys, I'll be here each week live. If you haven't visited a chapter of Success Champion Networking, I highly recommend you go visit one of our groups and experience how we do networking differently. Just go to successchampionnetworking.com to visit a chapter, and we'd be damn glad to see you. Otherwise, I'm out of here, guys. Love you, mean it. See you. Bye.